And when we determine to, we make the choice to grow, we decide we're going to change, we want to be better leaders, then our climate, our environment around us will allow us to enjoy growth. And in this lesson, I want to talk to you now about the choices that we make, the change that you make, and also the climate that you choose to work in. That'll help you grow. That helps us grow as a leader. So, everything that I'm about to cover, just the key points, you're going to need to remember and know because you're going to see it again. Okay? And these are just, you don't have to know all this content, just the key words, and I'll let you know as we go along. So we'll need to know this whole section, because this is the key to you being able to impact and influence a multiple amount of people, to grow your business exponentially. This is key for that. So that's why this is so important. Okay? So there are 10 choices that a leader needs to make in order to grow. Okay? Or to grow as a leader. The first one is that we have to choose to be a leader. Choose to be a leader. And here when you look, it says, in every age, there comes a time when a leader must come forward to meet the needs of the hour. Therefore, there is no potential leader who does not have the opportunity to make a positive difference in society. Let me read that again. Therefore, there is no potential leader who does not have the opportunity to make a positive difference. So we all have this opportunity to make a positive difference. Tragically, there are times when a leader does not rise to that hour. And have we all seen it? Where, well, I gotta tell you, in America right now, have you guys heard about what's going on with Afghanistan?
Yeah.
You know, when the Twin Towers, which we're about to have the 20th anniversary of that, when they flew into those towers and, you know, there was an attack on our United States.
Yeah.
9/11.
Huh?
9/11.
9/11. Yep. We found out who was doing it, and they were over in hiding out in Afghanistan. So we went over there to, you know, to take care of them. Now we did get rid of a lot of them, you know, kill a lot of them. But you know, we were over there 20 years. So all Americans agreed that we needed to get out. We had worked with Afghanis. They had a new leader, you know, in place, and it was time for us to get out. But again, remember what we're talking about timing? It's just as important as what we do and how we do it. And our president, which we have to pray for every day, right? The way he pulled out of Afghanistan was, I mean, we had soldiers that got killed. We still have Americans that are there in Afghanistan, and the Taliban's going to kill them. And there are a lot of Christians that were there. Those would be one of the first people that they killed, the Christians. And they brought a lot of them out, but there's still a lot of them there. And so, at that time, that hour, the way our president chose to do it, killed people, killed lives, and probably even more, you know? So there where it says there are times when a leader does not rise to the hour, I'm sad to say that was a recent time where he did not rise to the hour and do that properly, do that the way it needed to be done. And so lives were lost, you know, lives were lost. And more may come. So just remember, choose to be a leader, okay? 10 choices necessary to grow as a leader. Choose to be a leader. Just remember that. because you'll see it again. Okay? The second one is choose to start growing now. Choose to start growing now. It's never too late, no matter how old you are. You know, my mom is now 85 years old, and when we started this kind of training, she was our oldest one in our group, but she was like, man, I love to learn. I love it. And she said, as a mom, she goes, I wish I'd known this stuff when I would grow it up. I would have been a better mom. So, this, a lot of times people say, well, I'm going to do that one day. I'm going to start that one day. But that day never comes. So just choose to start today. Napoleon Hill said there in your book, it's not what you are going to do, but it's what you're doing now that counts.
Yeah.
Okay? What you're doing now that counts. So, reasons why we need to choose to start growing now. First of all, letter A, growth is not an automatic process. You can't choose to grow and then tomorrow you're going to be a great leader, okay? It is, truly, it's a process. And it won't happen. It's still happening for me. And I started in 1999, really growing as a leader, okay? So it's a process. But every year, I think I become a better leader because I continue to grow. Okay? So, letter B, this decision today will ensure a better tomorrow. This decision today will ensure a better tomorrow. The best way to guarantee your tomorrow is to do the right thing today. Absolutely. And then letter C, it is our responsibility to our own growth, or to us grow. Okay? There in your book, there's another great quote by Warren Bennis, and he says, you've got to do your own growing no matter how tall your grandfather is. And we can't depend on our bishops to grow for us. We can't depend on our spouses to grow for us, our mama, our daddy. We've got to grow. We've got to do it ourselves. So, your growth will determine your organization's growth. Your growth is going to determine your ministry's growth. Okay? Your growth is going to determine your business's growth. You want a big business? You want to help a lot of people? You want a lot of people to get saved? You want a lot of people to be discipled? It's your growth that determines if that's going to happen and how large that's going to happen. So, if we're not growing, then we're dying. Okay? That is a fact. Grow the organization and not the people, and this is what you get. Short-term growth. If you grow the organization, so you're growing your business, but you're not growing your people and yourself, you're only going to have short-term growth, okay? Short-term success. But when we grow the organization and we grow the people, okay, at the same time, we have what's called long-term growth. So that's going to sustain us for years to come. When we're growing our companies, growing our churches, growing our people at the same time, then we're going to have long-term growth. But this one is where we want to get to. Grow the organization, grow the people, and the leaders, and you're going to have lifelong growth. Lifelong growth. It's gonna last until you die and beyond. And that's kind of where John Maxwell, is now. He's up in his 70s. He had his heart attack, in his 50s, and determined that if he died, he wanted the leadership, the legacy of leadership to continue. And if he died today, it will. He set it up that way. Because he's grown his organization, the Maxwell Company. He's grown people. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people. As a matter of fact, when I went to get certified as a John Maxwell trainer, there were people from Africa there. There were people from all over the world there at his training. So he's trained these leaders, and so they're passing it on. We're passing it on. Hopefully you're going to pass this on, and so his legacy is going to live on forever. Okay? Until the Lord comes back and takes us all with him. So that last part is huge. So as leaders, one of the suggestions I have for you is to get in a mentor group, okay? Find a mentor, find someone who's better as a leader than you, but then you turn around and you mentor somebody that needs to grow as a leader and be mentors. So we did this at the John Maxwell Company. He had 13 key leaders, and they would mentor us in a group. And we may read a book or watch a teaching or something like that, and it helped us grow. The company I work for now, we do that as well. We have 37 supervisors, and they've asked people like myself and others who are a little, now remember, positions, not leadership, but they've asked us who are a little higher in position, if you will, to mentor these supervisors. So we've been doing it. And the lady that I supervise had me do this teaching with her team. So see, she's turning around. Not only is she growing, but now she's growing her people and teaching them to grow. So that's how we multiply, and that's how we keep growing. Any questions on that? So you need to know to choose to be a leader. To choose to start growing now. You'll see that again. And then third, have a teachable spirit. Have a teachable spirit. And I feel like you all do. I feel like you all want to learn. But have a teachable spirit. You'll need to remember that one. And of course with iPhones, things like that now, it's easy to take notes, but I always try to have a pen in my bag. I got a pen, or I'll take on my phone and take notes on something, that I learned that will help me become a better leader, and then I can turn around and share. So we always want to have a teachable spirit and be ready to learn. Just remember that key point. Fourth is focus on self-development, not self-fulfillment. Focus on self-development, not self-fulfillment. How many of you have ever used FedEx or received anything from FedEx? Yep. So the guy who actually started that company, his name is Fred Smith. Fred Smith, he's still alive, I believe. When he came up with that idea, he was actually in college. When he came up with the idea of FedEx, he said, sending things all over the world quickly. He wrote he was in business school, and he wrote a paper describing how FedEx would operate, function. And he got a bad grade for that paper. This teacher didn't think it would work. And now FedEx is all over the world. And Fred Smith is a mighty rich man. But this principle, he said, John got this principle, he said, from Fred Smith, that he shared this with him, and he was like, yeah, you know what, he's right. Focus on self-development, not self-fulfillment. But the nice side effect of self-development is you are fulfilled. You know, it is very fulfilling. So there in your book, here is kind of the motive difference, if you will, for self-development and self-fulfillment. Self-fulfillment means doing what I enjoy most, and I will receive the most strokes for doing. But self-development means doing what I am talented and uniquely fit to do, and that becomes my responsibility. Self-fulfillment thinks of how something serves me, but self-development thinks of how something helps to serve others. Self-fulfillment thinks of how something serves me. Self-development thinks of how something helps me serve others. Okay? With self-fulfillment, thank you, feeling good is the product. Sorry about that. I didn't realize that was way up there. But that's the of self-fulfillment, the product, the byproduct of that. I mean, feeling good is the product, but with self-development, feeling good is the byproduct. Feeling good is the byproduct. All right, number 5. Number 5. Never stay satisfied with present accomplishment. We always want to grow. Once we accomplish our goal, we want to set another goal and go beyond that. So never be satisfied with our present accomplishments. And the key word here is stay. Never stay satisfied. There in your book, I think it's on page 62, right under that verse, it says, if what you did yesterday still looks big to you, you haven't done much today. If what you did yesterday still looks big to you, you haven't done much today. And the day we become satisfied with our station in life is the day that we stop growing. And when something stops growing, what is that an indication of? It's dead. That's right. It's dead. It's dying. It's dying. You know, it may stay green a little bit, but it's dying. You know? So if you're not growing, you're dying. So you want to remember just that basic principle, never stay satisfied with your present accomplishments. Number 6, be a continual learner. Be a continual learner. That's another choice that we make to grow as a leader. You know what? We never graduate. We never graduate from growing as a leader, learning. And if I ask you today, what are you learning? Of course, y'all are in school, so you're learning a lot. You have a lot to do. But if you weren't in school, and I asked you the question, what are you learning? How are you growing? You know, always be growing and learning something. Whether it's in the Bible, you know, again, that's the greatest leadership book there is. but just always be growing, always be learning. Another choice that we make to grow as a leader, number 7, is to channel your learning in a few major things. Because there's a lot to learn in this world, isn't there?
Yeah.
But what you want to do is come up with some major themes and focus on learning in those areas. So when we talked yesterday about weaknesses in 3 areas: attitude, you know what they were? Attitude, discipline, relationships, right? So those would be, if you're weak in any of those 3, those would be good areas to work on. Okay? But John is, well, there's a great quote there by C.S. Lewis. It says, every person is composed of a few things. Every person is composed of a few things. So whatever your purpose is, whatever your assignment is from God, that's a good indication of where you need to focus your growth. Okay? So, you want to know what John Maxwell's areas of growth are? He said he's always working on these areas. So you can't grow in every area. You don't want to, but you want to focus in on a couple of things and areas to work on. And because he writes books, he's a speaker, these are some of the key, and he's trained leaders, these are some of his key areas or themes that he works on. The first one is relationships. Me too, you know. I think we all should work on relationships. Personally, Jesus was one of the greatest, or the greatest relator, wasn't he? And so he works on relationships. And relationships, when you do that, this determines how well you will actually know people. When we talk about understand people, relationships determines how well I know people.